Good evening. So I started out wanting to film a video about the baits I'm most excited to chuck this summer, and I realized I have a problem, which most of us musky fishermen do. But I've got a lot of baits here, limited amount of time to run them down, and I'm just gonna dive right in. I've kind of got them categorized in such a way, but anyway, first things first, let's start with some spinner baits, because I don't know, they're just right here in front of me and will be the easiest thing to grab. But first on the list, growler from Thatch. Just Canadian made, Canadian love. This is just the standard growler with the 8 blade. These things are awesome. This one in particular was thrown by my brother-in-law a fair amount last year and fed us more than once. We haven't gotten any muskies on them yet. That's not to say that they won't work. We've moved a ton of muskies on these baits over the course of time. I don't know where I'm going here, but I'm just gonna set it down. Anyway, I guess if you don't appreciate the guerrilla style of filming, then it is what it is. Next on the list, another one by Droptine Tackle. We've got the triple deuce. I've trolled these. I've casted them. Barry's casted them. Barry's trolled them. They've got the nice little thing up front there. If you want to use it, you can. Barry moved just an absolute beast of a fish on one of these last fall. Unfortunately, she did not go. But man, she played in the 8 for a while. But just an awesome construction. This is the 2. I think this is the 2.5 ounce model. My 4.5 ounce model is downstairs. They're just really good. You can troll them. You can cast them. Big profile, tons of thump, tons of vibration. They get deep, they can be shallow. There's just a lot going on here, as you can tell. They make a lot of noise. So this is the triple deuce from Droptine Tackle. Check them out. Next on the list, another spinner bait. This is a Duke's Dozer. A little bit beefier setup than the Droptines, which is fine. It's nothing against Thatcher. It's just a different kind of deal. This is just meant to be trolled or casted through the thickest, gnarliest stuff with just out any sort of reservations. It's meant to take abuse and dish it right back out. So this is the Duke's Dozer. An awesome spinnerbait. I haven't had a chance to throw it yet. I'm recording this in the spring, but it'll definitely be in the lineup, especially for trolling. I'm really looking forward to getting this thing on the water. All right, moving on to the next category. Let's call it topwater. Let's call it topwater time. Topwater category. I'm going to start with Babe Campbell's flaptail here. These things are awesome. They make a ton of noise. Again, if you've watched the Smiths videos, you know that they make a ton of noise. My buddy Justin Regan has caught fish on these. I threw this one a bunch last fall. Didn't have any action as of yet. Doesn't mean I'm going to stop throwing it. Thing sounds awesome. It looks awesome. It moves a ton of water. And those muskies will be drawn to it, no problem at all. I mean, this thing is just going to get crushed. So again, big guy baits. Look up Babe Campbell stuff. Reasonably priced. Awesome musky lures. They're available everywhere. I saw today there's a post of Happy Hooker in northern Wisconsin has them. So like, that's cool. Been there a few times, which is dope. So anyway, big guy baits, check him out. He makes awesome twitches too. But as far as the topwater program goes, his flaps are hard to beat. Next on the topwater program, the one, the only, the obnoxious bee. I will be throwing this thing in Canada again. That 40-inch pike I got on it last year kind of wonkified it a little bit, but I think we've kind of gotten her straightened out just a little bit. Turns out big fish will mess up lures, but I've said it before, I'll say it again with the obnoxious bee. There are a few things that produce a sound like the obnoxious bee does that replicate like a fleeing coot or waterfowl as well as the obnoxious bee. It is very definitive. If you've not heard it in the water, you've got to check it out. Check out that video of that 40-inch pike. Yeah, anyway, he thought he was getting a coot for dinner or breakfast, I guess. It was in the morning, but he did not. He got this. So check them out. They're awesome. They put off a ton of noise. Next on the list, we've got the Little Sister. This thing holds a special place in my heart. The Little Sister has gotten the biggest fish in my boat. I don't foresee that ever changing. This has my dad's personal best fish on it, and is just an absolute stone cold killer of a topwater bait. These things are phenomenal. I cannot wait to throw them more. It's just such a little compact profile, and they kick out fish every single time. Another one, topwater wise, that I'm really looking forward to throwing. This is Adam Mueller's, kind of his take on a hog wobbler style lure. I cannot wait to chuck this thing this summer and fall. I mean, it's just gonna do all kinds of stuff. It makes noise, it clicks, it clacks, it gurgles. Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. I cannot wait to chuck this, or have someone else. Actually, I can't wait to have someone else chuck it, because I can't catch fish on top water to save my life. So someone who can might as well. And yeah, anyway, someone else will catch fish on this. I probably won't, but I'll just be glad to have it in the boat. So regardless, if someone's catching on it, that's all we want anyways. Let's move on to the swim bait category. This is a Rover, 9-inch Rover Custom in kind of the walleye color. I'm really looking forward to chucking the Rover this season. I've heard nothing but good things about them. They're on Ugly Pike podcast. They're featured all over the place. Yeah, as I've told Quinn, my musky protege, there's never a bad time to throw a swim bait. Throw them in the clouds, throw them in the sun, throw them whenever, rip them, pull them. As long as that tail's kicking, there's no wrong way to work a swim bait. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to throwing this guy. In instances where I don't want quite as big of a swim bait, the 8-inch Poseidon will fill that void quite nicely, I think. This is just the standard sucker color. If you listen to Taylor's podcast on Muskies on Tap, you know that gold works for a lot of reasons. Gold will make the muskies fold, so that's why I got this one. There's a little white under the belly, you know, just natural. Looks like lots of things. Crappies, bluegills, whatever. They all look, you know, it all serves the same purpose. They all look awesome. All right, next on the list, we've got a couple of Rusty's Customs. So first on the list, we're going the 6-inch Fortune Teller. This thing looks awesome. Looks just like a bluegill. Muskies eat bluegills, they eat crappies. They eat whatever they want, because they're the biggest, baddest thing in the lake. So 6-inch Fortune Teller, awesome glide. If you want to see how well they work, just watch Brian and Ben's videos. Mine probably aren't out yet, so. Apparently, YouTube decided it was going to start playing Linder's Angling Edge in the background here. Shout out Linder's Angling Edge. I'm going to turn that off. The next one from Rusty's Customs, we've got the 7-inch Counterpunch. This is his spy bait, meant for deep water. It clicks, it clacks, it makes tons of noise. We got spinners, we got blades, we got rattles. These things are awesome, and they just put out a ton of noise down there. I'm going to use this a lot more on the sandgrass this summer, deep stuff in Minnesota. It's going to be great. I just need to throw it more often than I did last year, because there are times and places that it needs to happen. All right, let's see. Let's go rubber. Rubber always works. I love rubber. It is just a great thing to be throwing at all times. We'll just kind of run it down and just kind of go from there. So this summer, picked me up a Glenn McDonald. We've got a 54 bust dog. I had to do it. I like the Heli Dogs. I've had good luck on them. This thing looks great. I actually really like the regular size Heli Dogs. I think that it's just a really good profile and will be really good in Wisconsin. Stay tuned for more on that. I don't know. We'll see what happens, but I'm definitely gonna check it. All right. Moving to the chaos side of things. It's always hard to beat a mid-deusa. Day in and day out, these things just absolutely crush. I love them. I've caught probably more muskies on a mid-deusa than any other bait in my tackle box. And I'm just not gonna stop throwing them ever. They just work. The profile is awesome, the bait is awesome, and yeah, I'm gonna be chucking them all summer long. Next one, for some of those instances where I want a little bit bigger profile in certain bodies of water, maybe Minnesota, maybe Canada, we're gonna go with the reg size Deusa in my favorite color, lemon drop, because it catches fish. Again, these things are just awesome. I don't throw the big sizes a ton. I throw them a fair amount just because, like, you know, just to change it up. But again, it's just one of those things where it's situational. I have a lot more confidence in the mids versus the regs, but there is a time and a place for the regs. There's a time and place for the huskies, time and place for the minis and the micros. But again, it's just kind of knowing your bodies of water, your conditions, and choosing the best bet for that time. Next on the list, we're gonna go with more rubber, this time from Brady Martz of Bam Bam Custom Baits. So this is his Bowfin Jr. These things are awesome. I've thrown them a ton this spring. They just look amazing in the water. I have yet to connect. It's not an if bait, but definitely a when bait, and hopefully by the time you're watching this, I've already crushed like 7 on these things. But again, this is the Bowfin Jr. They're awesome. They dart, they dive, you know, they just have kind of a weird hang to them. And like Brady likes, you get a lot of the head down action with these. He weights them very heavy in the head. They run super consistent, and they just kind of have a really unique action that a lot of the rubber doesn't have that's on the market. So looking forward to chucking the Bowfin Jr. even more than I have already. Speaking of Bowfin Juniors, let's talk about its bigger brother, the Bowfin itself. This is kind of a hot tail walleye, chartreuse tail walleye, lemon tail walleye, whatever you want to call it. I cannot wait to throw this in Minnesota with Ben this summer and Brian, and hopefully that all works out. But I think that this color will be awesome. I think that the profile is awesome for those bodies of water and those fish and what they're keying in on, and the depth range that they're at. So again, these regular bowfins are pretty big, but again, it's one of those things where it's situational. You got to know your bodies of water. You got to know kind of what your fish want. Not everything's gonna want to eat, you know, a 14-inch bait, but in the places that they do, they're gonna gobble them up. Also, probably in Canada, some of those breaks that I fish with Glenn, I could see these things just absolutely just changing the game on. So really looking forward to chucking these more. I threw them a fair amount last fall in kind of that colder water program as things were kind of cooling off and those fish were looking for bigger baits, or what I had hoped, you know, when they're looking for bigger baits. Okay, we have still got a fair amount of baits to talk about here, because I have a problem. Don't tell Callie. Alright, let's talk twitches for the summer. Something that I'll be rocking, as I always rock, that I love to throw, the Topline twitches. These things are money, and money always. I absolutely love them. This is a regular size. This is a pike pattern. This thing is going to get absolutely destroyed in the Northwoods, in Minnesota. Wherever pike live, wherever muskies live, it's gonna happen. I cannot wait to chuck this one. It just looks too good. It looks too good. Adam's just an artist. There's no way around it. Speaking of artistry, the Dipstick XL. This one is going to get absolutely annihilated wherever it's thrown. I mean, just the iridescent colors, the steel gray on that thing, the red eyes, it's just going to give those fish something to really key in on and just absolutely annihilate. So yeah, that's the Dipstick XL. Just love the profile on these. They seem like they are huge, and they're pretty big baits, but they're not so big that the muskies in Wisconsin get turned off by them. So I'm just gonna kind of like show the iridescence of that thing. I love this bait. I'm so happy that Adam let me have that one, because it is just so stinking cool. Speaking of stinking cool, flashy baits, can't talk about that stuff without featuring the 9-inch Ridge in the Pro model. The Night Eye has done really well for me this spring. I've gotten one little one on a Night Eye. I had an absolute heartbreak happen not that long ago on this one's 6-inch brother. I just had a really big one swing and miss. It just didn't get it. I don't know what else you can say. Sometimes the apex predators aren't so apex, but yeah, that one hurt. That one hurt a lot. But anyway, this is the 9-inch Ridge. You've seen it before. You'll see it again. I love these baits. Matt just kicks out some incredible fish on these things, and I love chucking them because they catch and move the biggest fish in the system year in and year out. Let's move on to the second to last section. We've got some diving rises. Alright, so let's start smallish and then we'll work our way up. So we've got the SRJ from Pandemonium Tackle. I love these things. When times get tough, it's always good to lean on the SRJ. They have a unique action that's just different from a lot of things out there. Fish just will key in on them, and they come and they find them. I love the SRJs. I appreciate the work that Kevin does on these things. They just catch fish. Just straight up, they just catch fish. Moving on, we've got the 8-inch Bucko. I'll be throwing that guy some this spring, or this summer, excuse me. Again, just a really good bait made by a really good dude, and it looks awesome. Tons of glitter. This is like his glitter walleye color. I've had some luck on this last year. I've got it weighted about as perfect, I think, as you can get. This thing will just sit there and suspend, and I absolutely love that. It'll just sit there in those fish's faces, off the brakes, in the weeds. It doesn't really matter. So this is the 8-inch Bucko. Looking forward to chucking that some more this season. Speaking of Buckos, another one. His 10-inch. This is his like 10-inch. We'll call it White Eye. I don't know if he has names for his colors, but we'll call this one White Eye. This thing looks awesome. I've got the split rings on it. I haven't loaded it up with hooks just yet, but we'll get there. And this will follow me around this summer. I cannot wait to throw this thing. Had some luck on his 10-inchers last year. I caught a really nice pike with one. Moved some fish with it as well. But looking forward to chucking this one all summer long. Alright, last for the diving rises. Again, if I make it to Minnesota, which I hope that I do with Ben and Brian once again, the Bar Fighter. You've seen it before. You'll hopefully see it a few times. I'm glad to have one now. It's just incredible artistry, incredible work, and they fill a niche that very few baits do. So I'm happy to have one. I feel like I don't need more than one at this point, but who knows, maybe eventually I'll get more. I absolutely love this thing. It's gonna be really cool to throw. Cannot wait to chuck it. All right, last on the list, we've got the bucktail program. There are just so many awesome bucktails that I own. I cannot appreciate Johnny Dadson and his wife Sam any more than I already do. And I've got another guy who's kind of following their lead, kind of making some bucktails too, which I'm going to talk about here in a second. But how can I talk about bucktails without talking about the blade with no name? This thing has caught tons of fish. This one in particular has my second biggest muskie on it. Make of that what you will, but this thing gets chewed. I absolutely love this color. It's kind of like the grape flame. I think it's maybe purple rain is the color, or purple haze. Purple haze is the color. Jimi Hendrix didn't have a song about purple haze, did he? Just kidding, he definitely did. Yeah, Purple Haze is an awesome song. Anyway, looking forward to chucking the blade with no name all summer long, once again, in Canada, in Wisconsin, wherever muskies live. It's gonna be awesome. Cannot wait to throw it. Another one that I cannot wait to throw. This is my buddy KV following the Dadson lead, making his own custom prototype here, which I cannot wait to throw. Mostly because, if you notice, I don't know if it'll focus, and it's backwards, but he gave me my own color. So KV, thank you. I now have my own color. Apparently I've made it. I guess I'm a big enough deal to have my own custom color now. I don't know what that means. I'm not a big deal. I'm just a guy who catches big fish, or tries to. Mostly tries to catch big fish, hopes to catch big fish. I don't actually catch that many big fish, but again, that's besides the point. If you've watched this video that long, or this long at this point, then, you know, making fun of myself and taking a second to do that shouldn't be any issue. But again, an awesome proto from Dadson Blade Baits, courtesy of my buddy KV, in my own color. I mean, that's dope. It's really dope to have your own color. So MEV shad, we got some chartreuse, we've got some silver, we've got some black. It looks awesome. This thing is gonna get destroyed. All right, last on the list is another Dadson bucktail. This one originally belonged to one of my musky mentors, Dave Halverson. I would not know my buddy Barry without Dave. I wouldn't know much about bucktails without Dave. This was originally his. Unfortunately, Dave is no longer with us, but this tie is just bananas from I don't know. I don't know if this is a Johnny tie or his brother or his mom. I'm not sure who tied this one. I'm waiting on a text and it didn't show up just quite yet for whomever tied this, but this was from 2016. I know it's gotten several fish, and I got this courtesy of Brian J. Klein. So those of you who know who he is, just one of the most phenomenal sticks that is guiding presently. So I am just through the moon to hopefully try and chuck this thing, catch some big fish, and do it justice this season. This thing is awesome. The tie is awesome. I know that it already catches fish. BJK told me that Dave got a couple with this one, so that isn't in question. We just got to add to the list at this point. So this blade means a lot to me, and we're gonna get some more on it. I'm looking forward to it. So that's my rundown of all the stuff I'm throwing this summer. It's a lot, but it'll be good. I cannot wait to get all these things chewed. It's gonna be an awesome season. I hope that you guys enjoy following along on all of my adventures. I will do my very best to document all the things. I appreciate all of you watching and watching the Tackle Talks. I know that this was a long one, but I hope that there was a ton of useful info in there for you. But that being said, I appreciate all of you watching. Good luck this season. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.